things are happening in our lives every single day, and there are stimuluses, and then between that split second, Darren, what you're talking about is that we have that choice to respond based on our moods, feelings, and circumstances. And then the next slide here, as you can see, is that instant. Although it seems as though it really is a small instant, it is what are we thinking about leading up to that? What are we doing to build our character? What are we doing to build our business or to develop those relationships with those we're involved with, whether it's in our personal lives, our children, our coworkers, anybody that we're dealing with? Those responses, Darren, are almost predetermined. And it's based on what we think about and being proactive about how am I going to live my life? How am I going to run my business? And the fact of the matter is, as Wally always says, challenges are never going to stop coming. People die, people get sick, people go bankrupt. The difference in those that succeed is not the people that are allowing the economy or the weather or outside forces to determine their results in their life. The people that have incredible results simply make better choices in that split-second moment where they have that choice to respond. Instead of saying, I'm just a victim of circumstance, the people that truly have success in their life and their business are those that have prepared themselves in order to draw better responses.
Obviously, what we want to teach is not to be reactive, but to be proactive instead. Reactive people are driven by feelings, circumstances, conditions, the environment. A tornado comes through and a reactive person just shuts down, and we all will for a moment for sure, and rightfully so. But the difference is proactive people stop, they get back up, and they be proactive rather than continuing to be reactive. What we can't do is decide to sit back and just allow the economy, the bad economy, if you will, insurance companies, whatever the case is, continue to hold us back. We've got to take control of our feelings and make decisions based on values and respond to the environment based on those values rather than feelings and emotions.
Darren, if we could, what I'd like to do here for just a second is let's talk about how this relates specifically to the dental practice and to those people involved in the practice. And one of those ways, when you start talking about proactive versus reactive language, what I'd like to do is put a couple of slides up here and just show some very specific examples of the way that we can think and then the way that we can react. And this is essentially doing the same thing. I mean, so often in our lives and in our business, we think that somebody made us do something. And that would be the reactive language, or the reactive language is they made me do it. Well, if we decide to say something like, I decided to. Well, how does that relate in our practice? Well, think about this. If you're working the phones and somebody tells you, this is what I need you to do, this is how I need you to answer the phones, you could say, well, this is how they make me do it, or this is how they make me say my introductory remarks when a customer calls in. Or we could take responsibility and say, you know what, I'm going to have a proactive approach to this, and even though this is the way the company wants me to do it, I am choosing to be here. I have to. It's along those same thought processes. And when you're telling yourself, I have to go to work today, well, you know what? You don't. You don't have to go to work today. You can stay home. You can quit your job. You can choose to be fired. You can choose to go out and hang out with your kids and pull them out of school. Now, sooner or later, there will be consequences, but you don't have to go to that job. You could change career paths. You could decide to go down and live and work in a soup kitchen. I think the point is, and I'm being a little bit facetious here, but we all have choices. And a lot of times we get in that mode of having reactive language saying, I have to do this or I have to do that. It can't be done. Or you could have proactive language and say something like, there's got to be another way. And then you start to seek out a different way, a different attitude, a different way of doing things. Darren, I'll just tell you, some of these things, they seem like they might be surface level. But when you begin to really practice these things in your life and within your corporation, within your career, it will have immediate impact on your company, on your attitude. That will help build company culture. People will begin to love being around you. People will love working where they work if everybody was to have proactive language versus reactive.